Hi, I'm Jenny Ziede, and Jenny is going to ask me some questions, and I will answer them. The first question was about your childhood. It's very easy, I was very sheltered. I was a young kid, taking care of my mom and dad. Done everything they told me to do. I was a good boy. And I all of a sudden the war started out, and what can I tell you? It's just it changed my life. It changed me altogether because I had nobody to take care of me anymore. I had to fend for myself. I had to do everything that I thought is good for me. But who knows? As a child, you can't make a decision like this that is proper. And then the war started,
Okay.
and that was it.
How did anti-Semitism affect your life when you were younger?
Well, anti-Semitism is to me is a personal thing. I was a kid. I didn't understand it. I didn't read books about it. I had no idea what's going on. The only thing I know that every Polish kid, there was even a friend of mine. He told me, "I hate Jews, but you're a good little Jew, so I don't hate you that much." And then when Marshal Pilsudski, the president of Poland, died in 1935, well, they beat me up and they told me, your grandpa died and from now on you're not going to be having such a good time anymore. And I was the only Jewish kid in the seventh grade, and I don't know what, it was just miserable. It was just a miserable thing. My father suffered anti-Semitism, my whole family. All the Jews in the little city of about maybe 50,000. I don't know how many Jews there
What
were.
city did you live in?
Pardon me?
What city did you live in?
Krylov. I lived in Krylov. It was a small shtetl, and the church was in front of our house, our store, and school was about maybe 5 minutes walk, and we played across from the river brook. There was a wall left over from a king, some kind of Polish king's castle, and there was only one wall left, and we were playing across there. But I felt it as I got older. I felt the anti-Semitism is a terrible thing. They once brought a movie to the. We didn't have no movie house. We just had a a barn where they kept the fire equipment, the fire extinguishing equipment with the horses. They cleaned out this whole place and they put a movie in all the Poles, not the Jews, went to see it. And when they came out, they were breaking windows, they were breaking store windows, they were screaming out with the Jews, dirty Jews, and this kind of stuff.
What was the war like?
To me, well, when you lose your, when you're so cattled, and you're so taken care of, and then all of a sudden on your own, then you're in big trouble, no? And they, we went with the Germans came in first to our city. They took all the grown-up Jews into the post office, a very small post office, and they kept them there for about maybe a whole day and a night, and then they had a pact agreement with the Russians again, as I understand it, and the Russians came in, and the Germans left for about maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And it was a little bit easier because they didn't actually persecute you. They just they were singing with the I forget what you call it, the harmonicas or something, and dancing, and it was a little bit better for the 3 weeks. Then a new pact was made between the Russians and the Germans. That where I lived was Krylov, and the river was the border. They divided up Poland into Germany took a half of Poland, and Russia took the other half of Poland. So so what happened is but they gave orders to the Russians had to lead, and they gave orders to the Germans to lead, and the Russians asked everybody, would you like to stay here with the Germans or would you like to come with us? So my parents decided to go with them, and they took us to Siberia in cattle wagons, and wagons that carry cattle normally or whatever it is. And about maybe we were about 5 families in one wagon. It was really terrible, it was a terrible thing. We were on the train about 10 days until we arrived in Siberia, and then I have a lapse of memory of what happened between then and the time that I wound up in the army. I cannot remember this year and a half where I was, whether I was in the woods, whether I was hiding, whether I was running, but I remember one thing. My parents said to me, there's a couple of guys going, go with them, and wherever you wind up, you'll be better off than here because the Germans are coming here. The Germans are coming. And they wound up in Odessa, and I think that they hit them with something, and they drowned in
Who's they?
Odessa. My parents.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember waving at them, saying goodbye and crying, and didn't know what to do with myself. And I wound up back in Poland because the Russians was beginning to win, and they liberated some territory, and I wound up in Poland. I wound up in the army, volunteering to the army, the Polish army and the Russians. And one night, I was on my duty job, and you're not supposed to smoke because if you smoke, the enemy, the Germans, would look at, would find out where we are, So they didn't allow you to smoke. But I did smoke, and my superior officer came over to me and said, "Get off the thing, throw away the cigarette. You're gonna be punished for that." And the punishment was going across from the Vistula. I was on the Vistula, that station, going across, and what do you call it? You check on the other side. You spy on the other side, you find out what's going on in the German side. I know one thing, that anybody that went didn't come back. They were all killed out, they tried to come back. So there was a Jewish officer in the high ranks in our company. I went to him and I asked him, "Could you help me? I'm the only one left, my whole family, I think, and I have nobody else, and I don't want to get killed. And I did a mistake, I smoked a cigarette, and they're going to send me there, and that'll be the end of me." So he asked me, how many grades did you study? How far in school, high school, did you go? I told him I had only 7th grade in the first school, And he said, "Oh, let me check it out." And he checked out. There was nobody in the company that went to school that long. So he sent me to the officers' school before they had a chance. And he said to them he didn't know what's going on. And I went to the officers' school, and I came back, and they gave me a battalion of mortars. And well, that was it. And then after the war in 1945,
Go.
in the war I lost quite a few friends. It was tough, but it was better than being under the Germans or under the Russians. So I just kept going, and I had some problems during the war, but this is not important. The important thing is that at the end, at the end of the end of the war, they were going to send me back to the vicinity where I live, Lublin, to fight with the. These I was on the Russians, and there was an army, Army of Krayova, it's called, and they were fighting. They didn't want communism, so they were fighting. So they were going to send me into the woods to exterminate them, with my company. That day, my friend, I had a friend, a very nice man. He was my superior. I was only a lieutenant. He was a captain, a political captain. We decided we were going to run away, leave the army, after the war. The war was finished, and I didn't have any more interest of fighting anymore. I don't want to fight my own people. So we told our subordinates, like the corporals and all these guys, that we are going to say goodbye to our girlfriends at the border where we were stationed. And so they went this way, and they went east, and we went west. And we wound up at the house where we were stationed. We had a border link of about maybe 50 miles where we were stationed to take care of the border with Czechoslovakia. When we were on the border, we had some parties, with the Czechoslovakian people. We had very nice. We get along very nicely, my friend, and they were also guarding the Czechoslovakian border against Poland. So when we had a party one day, we told the major superior officer, or a Jewish man, we told them that one day we're going to defect from the Polish army, and if you're still here, we would like you to help us, if we get in trouble. But we came to the house where we stayed, and the young lady that knew us gave us 2 bikes, and with the uniforms, with the guns, we drove into the border patrol of the Czechoslovakians. Well, what happened is that the Czechoslovakians are also under the Russian influence. They were also controlled by the Russians at that time in 1945. It was after the war, yeah. And they took us to jail, both of us, and they interrogated us. And the Russian guy, said to us, "We're going to send you back, and they're going to execute you. You're defected from the Polish army, and you left your companies without any orders, and that, and we're going to execute you." Meanwhile, at the border, we told the border guys that if you can find the name of the major that knows us, tell him Weintraub and Stahl, the 2 guys, they're coming across, and the Russians are holding them, and they're going to send them back. They actually got a hold of these of the major, and told them the story. He came, and he said to the Russian officer, he says, "Okay, we'll take him we'll put him in our jail." They took us out, and they kept us for a week in the officers' quarters. They told us, "Don't worry about it, you're in good shape now." And a week later, after we recuperated from all this stuff, he gave us a regular soldier, and took us over to the border with Germany. And when we came to the German border, there was no Germans, there was only Americans. The Americans were on the other side. We came in with the guns, with the uniforms, the whole thing, and we said to the American, in German, I guess we told them, I don't know how we spoke, German or American. We told them that we have defected from the communist army. So the guy says to me, "So what do you want me to do about it?" "Go ahead, do what you want." He didn't understand what's going on. So we had no money. We went into the burgermeister, the mayor of the city, and we asked him to give us some money for a ticket to Munich. We didn't know where we were going. We didn't know what we were doing. The guy gave us some money. We bought a ticket. We came on the train, and they sat down, both of us, with the uniforms, with the guns, and the Polish army from the other side. The guys were in Germany, also in uniform. They salute us. Each time they go by, they would salute us. We were a little scared. We didn't know what we were going to do. And in front of us was sitting a guy, a nice fella. His name was Raymond. And he looked at us. We looked at him. He didn't speak Yiddish. He spoke only Polish. Some Jews didn't speak Yiddish. And he said to us in Polish, are you from the Army of Krajowa? Are you from, what are you, where are you from, where are you coming from? We were afraid to say anything because I didn't know who you were. Eventually we told him we were Jewish. So we sat and looked at each other, and finally we realized he was Jewish and he knew that that we were Jewish. And we told him, what, we just ran away from the Polish army. We just came here, no money, no nothing. We don't know where we are going. We just really don't know what we're going to do from this moment on. And we told him the whole story about what we did and how we came here and the whole spiel. So he said to us, hey guys, in Polish, if you want to, I belong to a displaced persons camp called DP, and we are a nice group of people, Jewish people, left people that are escaped or people that just came out of the camps. And my friend is the chief of police, and he's a nice man. So why don't you come with us? So we did. We went with him, and the place was named Einring. It was a beautiful, beautiful camp. Must have been an officer's station or whatever you call it, And we came there and introduced us to Abraham, this was the police chief, and his now wife is Zoshka, she called, and her name is Raz. That's right, and it's all its friends. We became very, very good friends over there. And when we came to the camps, the Haganah had a headquarters in the front of the camp, about half of the camp almost, where they transported Jews from Eastern Europe on the way to Israel. And they needed people that were a little bit kind of army-oriented. So they took me and my friend Norbert, and every night we used to go to the border and watch for the police. And it was a cat and mouse game, When we saw there's nobody there, we brought over probably in a month, we brought over probably about 1,000 people, and we placed them right at our camp, in front of our camp, and they interviewed them. The Haganah interviewed them and took him right there and transported him to Israel from Germany. It was an interesting situation. Well, back to Raymond. Raymond was a very nice guy. He was a really lovely, lovely guy. You fell in love with him when you met him, and he had a charm about him. but the other side of the story is that you couldn't depend on him. You couldn't, really. When he said something to you, you could have dismissed it completely because he just this was the kind of a guy did, and yet you stayed with him. Yet you cared because and we became very very good friends. As a matter of fact, at the one stretch of our time in the camp, we wore the same size suit. There was weddings, so I would go to the first part of the wedding sometimes, come back, give him my suit, and he would go to the second part of the wedding. But at that time, we had a big fight, and we still slept in the same bed. There was a single bed, and we didn't talk to each other. So when I had to turn at midnight, I would say, "We are going to turn." And we turned, and that's how, we didn't talk to each other for about 6 months. Then we made up again, and we were very, good. We always good friends.
What happened with Roz?
Roz is right here. She's, Abram, the chief of police, came here to Los Angeles in about 1956 or something like that. And we spent so much time together, our families, my Joyce and Raz and all the tremendous, beautiful family when I got married,
Is that when you met Ziede Riza?
I met Ziede Riza in the camps. I met Ziede Riza, I met in the camps, And when they came to Los Angeles, after they got married and they had Stevie already and Florence, Florence was about a year old, and I used to come to the house and I'd say, "Hi, Florence," and she would scream at me. I don't, boo, 1 year old, she didn't like me at all. It was a beautiful, beautiful relationship. It developed into a group of nice people in Los Angeles. Lots of, about 10 friends. We used to have parties, and
we still have parties with them. We still have parties with them.
I know, but these were the old friends that knew, everybody felt the same way, and we really had a good time together. So that was the story of Raymond. And of course, Raymond got married, and our wives didn't get along. So we told each other, I said, "Hey, listen, now we are married men, and they take over, we can't do anything about it. So we'll see each other whenever we can, not necessarily in parties or something like that." Our wives did not get along pretty well, too well. It wasn't just a pleasant thing. But we saw each other. We went out for lunch. We had good times. We were in good shape. Yeah. But with Riza, with Abram Riza, with Raz, until today, Abram of course died. But with Raz and Florence is the daughter. She is a beautiful woman, a perfect person. Like my son, like Michael, it's unbelievable. They're such nice people, good people, decent people. That I could never measure up to them at all. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. So that is. Any questions you have any more? That is the story.
Thank you.
That's the story. Yeah.